Module 1, Lesson 3, Lecture 3.2, Arduino Basic Setup. So right here, we're going to talk about how you set up your Arduino environment in the first place. We'll just go through the basic setup, and we'll have you install the Arduino environment and then run a program just as a sanity check to see that you got it all installed. And you should definitely do this first thing you get your Arduino. You should do this just to make sure that the whole setup is working cleanly. So, setting up the Arduino IDE, you want to download it first. So you go to arduino.cc, specifically on the link that's shown there, arduino.cc/en/main/software, or just go to arduino.cc and at the top there's a download button and it'll get you there. So easiest to run the installer. Now I'm using Windows, so say Windows installer, but you can do this on Mac and on Linux as well. So you run the installer. Now that will automatically install all the drivers that you need, specifically the USB driver and other drivers. Drivers are basically software code that runs on your machine to communicate with other devices. Okay, so on your desktop, laptop, right? So it'll have drivers. Any operating system has a set of drivers. So there'll be drivers to talk to the USB port on the Arduino. So this, if you just run the installer, it will automatically, when it asks you, oh, should I install the USB drivers? Yes. Any drivers that says, okay. So you install those. And actually, this process has gotten much better over the years. It used to be much, error-filled, right? But now it's pretty clean. Okay, then connect your board to the computer, your Arduino board to the computer. Use a USB cable, connect it. Launch the Arduino application. So start the IDE. However you want to start it. Maybe you have a desktop icon, you double click on it, or do a search, find a search for Arduino and double click on it. So you start the IDE with the board connected. Now when you start it, first you get the image you see on the left. You're going to get basically an empty screen. It's not completely empty. This one has sort of a shell set up in a void, but there's no code inside there, right? They're blank. So you start off with something blank like that, and you can, if you wanted to, you could write code and fill in the blanks, write all your code right in there. That's not going to be the first thing you're going to do. First thing you want to do is basically open a sample problem, a sample file, and run that, just as a sanity check to see that your whole system's working. Now, the Arduino comes with a big set of example programs that should work. So I'll advise you to look at the Blink example. So go to File, go to the File pull down, File, Examples, Basics, and Blink. There's a program called Blink. You click on that. Then you'll get the image you see on the right. It'll open up the Blink code. Now that's just the beginning of the Blink code, but there's a little bit more of it down there. But it'll open up a new window with the Blink code in it. Now, then what your goal is going to be is to run that program. And what it should do is it should make an LED blink on the Arduino. Okay, and then my setup is working correctly. So in order to get to that point where you're going to run the code, first you want to make sure that the machine has recognized your Arduino correctly. Now this you may not have to do. It may, if you're lucky, it may just, as soon as you plug it in, your OS will detect it and everything will be fine. But here are some checks that you typically do before you actually program. First, select your Arduino board in the Tools board menu. So if you go to Tools and go to the board link, it lists a bunch of Arduino boards. Arduino Uno is typically what you're going to be using, but there are many Arduino variants on Arduino board. Arduino Lilypad, Arduino Do Milanove, and all this. So there will be a whole bunch of them, and usually it detects it automatically and it highlights the one that you're using. But just in case it didn't, you go in there and you select the one that you're using, Arduino Uno, let's say. Then you want to select your serial port in the Tools port menu. Serial port, this is more detail than I want to get into, but there are these COM ports, communication ports on any Windows machine. And the Windows machine should, when you plug in an external device, it should automatically map the external device to a particular COM port, whichever one is available, first one it finds available. So if this is working right, there should be, when you look at the Tools port menu, there should be one option there. Say COM3 or COM5 or whatever is available, there should be one option, and you select it, okay? And that should be all there is to it. Sometimes there's multiple options, and then the easiest thing to do, there's a way to figure out which one is the right one, but the easiest thing to do is just guess, try one and program it and see what happens. If it fails, try it again. But there should be one option, and you select it. If there's no option, then it's not then probably the USB drivers are not installed correctly. Okay. So then once you selected the serial port, then you upload the program. You press the upload button. Now you press the upload button on the IDE, it'll compile the program, checking for errors, and the Blink program will have no errors. It'll compile it, and then it will upload it. When it's done, that'll take several seconds, okay? 10 seconds, let's say. Some lights will blink on the board quickly, and then they should stop blinking, and it should be programmed. And you should see a little message that says, done uploading. When that happens, as soon as it happens, the Arduino will start executing the program, as soon as it's done programming, done uploading. So and what should happen is there's an LED pin on the board next to the pin 13, digital pin 13, and it should start blinking once every second. And if that happens, then you know that your install is right and everything's working. So you should do that as soon as you get your stuff. Thank you.